What happens when you think that you're going to be the most popular girl in high school, however, reality sets in and you really are not? Join me as we look at, no matter how I look at it, it's you guys' fault I'm not popular, otherwise known as Watamote. Hello and welcome to That Man. That is me merchandise, and today we are looking at, no matter how I look at it, it's you guys' fault I'm not popular. This is a great one, but first off, thank you very much for coming and thanks again for staying so far. If you do like light novels or manga or anime figures, please consider liking and subscribing. There's plenty more on the channel. You won't be disappointed, hopefully. So, this series has been one I've been collecting for a long time. I've been collecting, I say a long time, in my circumstances it's been a long time. I bought volume 1 to 3 a few years ago, and I haven't regretted it ever since. It's been one of those ones where I just kind of started buying and buying, and when I was like, oh, I fancy reading something, oh, I'll buy a new volume of Watamote, otherwise known as No Matter How I Look at It, It's Your Guys' Fault I'm Not Popular. This is going to be really monotonous even. And yeah, because this is a great fun series. It's depressing. If you've got social anxiety, you may kind of feel your heartstrings running along with this, because everybody thinks that high school is going to be a big difference. Everybody kind of, in a lot of manga and a lot of anime, they're kind of like, well, I'm the new transfer, I'm just going to walk in and I'm going to be the best person ever. For Kuroko Tomoki, that's not the case. She doesn't have any friends. All of her social skills are racked up in online dating sims and video games. She loves anime, but she doesn't know how to talk to people. She doesn't know how to interact with people. And this is a very dark comedy in that she struggles to survive in high school. And yeah, it's very interesting. Now, the one I kind of like in this too is Humuto Umaru-chan, a series that I've talked about a few times on this channel. But this one's very dark, and it's not like Umaru, who's very popular. She's very unpopular. And it's not that she's doing anything particularly bad, she's just kind of that weirdo in class. She thinks that she very much tries, but it just doesn't work out for her. And she tries stuff like, for example, in this volume, she tries to have she tries to do makeup, she tries to do an upper appearance, she gets stuck back at school, she tries on perfume, and it just backfires because she just genuinely just doesn't know the social skills. She struggles to talk to people. Whenever she has an imagination where she's like, oh, I made friends with this, but when she's like talking to people, she's like, well, please. And it's heartbreaking to see it. And it's like, for example, very early on, there's a thing where she goes to McDonald's and she's like, oh, well, I need something to eat because I've spent all day reading manga and books in the like in a bookstore. And she goes, just like, they're like, what do you want? And it's like, and she gets orders wrong because she's like, she can't speak up well enough to kind of clearly state what she wants. And it's quite depressing, but it's also very tongue-in-cheek. She's a pervert. She doesn't know what she's doing half the time. So there is stuff where she's kind of like, oh, well, yeah, I'm just touching this person up. And it's like, that's how normal people act. That's how they act in anime, right? And it's like, no, it's not. And yeah, it's her continued suffering, which you kind of feel on your heart, but you're also laughing. I'm sorry, but it is a hilarious series. And honestly, out of all of the series, it's one of those ones I pick up again and again. Because really, it's hilarious. And it's not long. You can actually get through these in about half an hour to an hour. I have frequently read and reread this one. Much like another one that I will be talking about, or have been talking about anyway, is Yotsuba, where they're so easy slice of life ones that you can just pick up and read without having to kind of think about stuff. If I'm having a really bad day at work, I will pick up something like this and just kind of enjoy it, because yeah, it's not going to eat into much time, but it's still enjoyable. And there's only 13 volumes out, because it's going pretty darn slow at the moment. It's like once a month, so yeah, we're getting once a year. They caught up with it pretty darn quick. But yeah, it's a great series, and I would really recommend people check this one out. If you want another series that a lot of people have skipped over, but I feel like a lot of people will identify and come to some kind of like attachment to Kuroki and her struggles, even if you aren't like an unsociable person. Some of the stuff that she goes through you will see at some point. You may have seen it either in yourself, or you might have seen it in another person, and yeah, it's very easy to project yourself on this character. Yeah, I mean, she's a perv, she's an idiot. Later on, she is quite horrible. Like you said, no matter how I look at it, it's you guys' fault I'm not popular. In her mind, she doesn't think that she's done anything wrong. She thinks that it's other people. She calls them under her breath. But she genuinely does try, and it does pay off. There is a good payoff in this, and it is one where, like I said, she doesn't remain alone forever. In fact, she's not popular, however, she is good friends with one of the more popular girls in another school. And there is a lot of payoff in this. It's not where it's going to be the same kind of thing over and over again. There is a lot of great development for this character. Honestly, I love this one, and this is volume 1, so don't be surprised if I start covering volume 2, 3, 4 onwards, because I have a lot to say about this series. Definitely worth picking up. I would personally recommend it as an almost essential one. That's it from me. If you've enjoyed this, please leave a like, please consider subscribing, and let me know in the comments what you feel about this series. Did you enjoy it? Did you actually hate it? Did you identify with her at any point? Please keep it, kind of spoilers minimum. Try and cover stuff that's in volume 1 or stuff that's kind of vague, because there is stuff later on that it's worth reading. It's worth reading. I'm going to leave it at that. And thank you very much for coming, and thanks again for staying. If you enjoy this, like I said, there's other stuff around here that you probably will enjoy too. Thanks for coming, and thanks again for staying. Goodbye.